Andrew Tate is undoubtedly one of the biggest villains of 2022. The former kickboxer controversially revealed he moved to Romania as he was less likely to be investigated for rape claims earlier this year, and has since called out Logan Paul, claiming the YouTuber is jealous of him. Today, we are discussing the rivalry between the pair and Tate's recent clapback after being called out by Logan on his Impulsive podcast. Let's jump straight in then. What's going on? Don't get us wrong, we're in no way advocating Logan Paul and what he stands for, but when he calls out a cretin such as Andrew Tate, there's no way we're going to disagree with him. Logan had recently claimed that he would never fight Tate, who is part of the recent circus show-like boxing match trend, as he doesn't want to give someone like that a platform, which is more than fair, given some of the hideous ideas that man has aired over the past year or so. But Tate was quick to fire back at Jake's older brother after recently being banned from multiple social media platforms. On a recent episode of his new podcast, Tate called Paul's comments weird before labeling him as jealous. Although we're not sure either of those claims is valid, he said the primary reason is that he's extremely jealous of our monumental success. The second reason is that he's jealous of our brotherhood. He then suggested that Logan's relationship with KSI is weird, considering the fact that it has been suggested KSI will fight his brother Jake at some point. He went on, "Does that even make sense? He's just a weird dude. He's just clout chasing." However, it makes more sense to most of us than moving to Romania to have a better chance of getting away with rape. He went on to call Logan a coward, but we'd rather be accused of that than what Tate is accused of. Tate has since claimed he will fight Logan for free. Stay tuned. As we have mentioned, we're not huge fans of either Paul brother or their skewed ideas on what the boxing landscape should look like, but believe us when we say we would be right behind Logan should a fight with Andrew Tate ever materialize. And Tate himself has been discussing that exact topic earlier this week, calling Logan a while he was at it. The misogynist claimed that he wanted to fight Logan so much that he would fight him for free, before going on to describe the Impulsive host as a tool of the Matrix. Of course, not many platforms will allow him to spout his nonsense these days, after being banned from TikTok and other social media sites. But speaking in an interview this week, he said he, Logan, is a bought and sold individual with no soul. He doesn't stand up for anything, and he doesn't mean anything that he says. Tate then suggested that Logan simply regurgitates whatever it is people are telling him to say, accusing him of flip-flopping on any issue he can be bought and sold on. He then stated for the record his views on Logan, saying the guy isn't referencing Paul's 2017 episode when he was cancelled for the hideous video he made in a Japanese forest when he posted a clip of a dead body. Tate claimed he was fearful of ever being cancelled again. Phew, what are your thoughts on Tate? Next up, Tate has been discussing his social media ban. Don't get us wrong, we wholeheartedly agree with free speech, and in most cases believe people should be given a platform to air their opinions, mostly because it's a good idea for people to know who the loonies are. Am I right? But in the wake of Andrew Tate being booted from multiple social media platforms, including Facebook and Instagram, it's hard to defend a man like that. His accounts were shut down for what we described as violating various company policies given the content of his videos, but he recently attempted to explain the controversial posts by claiming he wasn't being serious, which is almost certainly nonsensical. He went on to say that he was playing a comedic character and has been taken out of context and amplified to the point where people believe absolutely false narratives about me. He also attempted to come across as a nice guy by claiming he had donated more than $1 million to women's charities, which was probably just a publicity stunt. Tate went on to say that his mother is his hero, but even Hitler had a close relationship with his mother. He then claimed, "Internet sensationalism has purported the idea that I am anti-woman, when nothing could be further from the truth. This is simply hate mobs who are uninterested in the fact of the matter, trying to personally attack me," before saying people are trying to twist his words. Any form of apology was conspicuously absent, however. What do you make of his words? Roman Reigns has responded to a recent Logan call-out next. As we know, Logan has recently signed up for a part-time WWE gig, and on his Impulsive podcast recently, he decided to call out the current king of the promotion, Roman Reigns. The YouTube star hosted Reigns on his own podcast earlier this week, with the pair pair sitting within touching distance of each other, but Paul refrained from suggesting they do battle to Reigns' face, instead calling him out when he had already left. He said, "I can feel the dog coming out in me. Like when I watch him on TV and in the ring, I just want to wrestle this guy," before suggesting he only wants to fight the best, by referencing Floyd Mayweather. He then claimed that he would win if he went up against Reigns right now, which WWE then got a hold of and ran with. Of course, Reigns was quick to hear of Logan's implied challenge, taking to social media himself to warn him, "I bless the world and bring the island of relevancy to your show. You and your boys acknowledge me, and as soon as I'm gone, you run your mouth?" Of course, the incident was almost certainly staged, but something like this is much easier to stomach than the whole Andrew Tate debate, which we really hope to never hear from ever again. What do you make of Logan's call out of Reigns? Let us know below. News of Jake's upcoming fight next. Stick with us. After his recent failed efforts to get another fight with Tommy Fury off the ground, as well as the disappointment surrounding the whole Hasim Rahman Jr. saga, Jake Paul finally has a confirmed opponent. The fight will go ahead on October 29th in Phoenix, Arizona, and will be the toughest challenge of Paul's fledgling boxing career to date, as he steps into the ring with one of the most dominant UFC champions in the promotion's history, Anderson Silva. The Spider has recently turned to boxing after retiring from MMA and holds a significant decision win over former WBC middleweight champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. last year. He also knocked out former UFC light heavyweight champion Tito Ortiz last September. Since the fight was announced, Paul has refrained from smack talk he usually indulges in, as he probably understands he's in there with one of the most dangerous strikers ever to grace combat sports. He has since claimed that he expects Silva to receive more money than he has ever made in his career for the fight, saying, "I think this could be the biggest payday of his career. Just because this is my first big fight. As crazy as that sounds, all the other fights have been like decent, but this is the first big fight with another massive name who brings a ton of business to the table. Who do you guys have?" And finally, Jake has laid down a warning to Nate Diaz. Diaz bowed out of his glittering UFC career with a superb submission win over Tony Ferguson last weekend, and talk quickly turned to the idea that he could be set to take on Jake Paul in a boxing match in the not too distant future. Nate is widely regarded as one of the better boxers in the UFC, or at least he was during his heyday, but Jake Paul has given him a stark warning following his release from the top MMA promotion. With talk now turning to Diaz probably trying his hand at pro boxing, Paul has amped up a bout between the pair. Responding to a question that asked whether or not he would be interested in facing the Stockton Slugger, Paul said, 100%. I'll slap the Stockton out of him. I mean, have a bit of respect. Paul went on to say that he, first of all, needs to get past his crazy tough opponent, Anderson Silva, which we highly doubt he will. But if he does, then Nate Diaz could be next in line. Who do you guys think wins between Diaz and Paul? As usual, thanks for dropping in on us today, and remember to tune in again next time when we will be discussing all sorts of other great content. And why not do us a big favor by liking today's video, whilst also sharing it with any combat sports fans you know of. Bye guys!